Hey guys, so today in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to do straight trim. I know trim is hard for a lot of people and it took me a while to get it down pretty good, so I figured I would do a tutorial for you guys. So what you're going to need is an X-Acto knife, a ruler, your credit card pockets with no trim, and then a trim color. And in order to do your trim really straight, I highly suggest that you get a cutting mat that has 1/4 inch marks on it. You can see how these are all 1/4 inch lines, like this is 1 inch and it divides it into 1/4 of an inch. I couldn't think of an easier way to do trim than the way I'm going to show you right now. So what you're going to do, you're going to measure your card pockets, and mine are 3 3/4 of an inches long. So I'm going to take my trim color and measure a little bit longer than 3 3/4 of an inch. So I usually do about 4 or 4 1/4 inch pieces of my trim color. And one piece of your trim color is going to do 3 card pockets, and since I have 4, I'm going to need 2 pieces of my trim color. And you just want to line that up pretty straight on your cutting mat. Then what you're going to do, let me line this up a little better, it's a little crooked. Okay, then what you're going to do, I make my trim on my wallets 1/4 inch, so each trim is 1/4 inch, so I want my trim pieces to be a little bit bigger than double that. So what I do is I do 2 1/4 inch squares and then 1/2 of a 1/4 inch square, just so that I have a little extra room. So I'm going to take my ruler and line it up at the 2 1/2 square mark. So you can see this is where my trim starts, and I have 2 squares and then 1/2 of a 1/4 inch square. And I'm going to cut it right there. And if you cut it at the 2 1/2 squares, you'll end up with 3 pieces of trim. And you want to cut these as straight as you can, because this is what's going to make your trim straight. Okay, so there are the 4 pieces for my card pockets. I'm also going to do one on an ID. And for the ID, I don't give myself the extra little bit, since this is going to, like, if you have extra on one side, it'll show up because it's clear. So I cut a piece that is exactly 1/2 inch or 2 squares for the ID part, so that I don't have anything like the sticky part of the tape showing through. So this is my extra piece, and then 1 2 3 4 for my trim and 1 for my ID. So first I'm going to show you how to do the card pockets. I'm just going to move my extras out of the way. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. I've done a lot, so I don't really need to stick my trim piece, my card pocket down on the board. I can just kind of hold it and do it. But I'm going to show you guys. Oh, I don't want to cut that one. This is my extra. Okay. I'm going to show you guys it with it taped down, just to make it a little easier for you. So I'm going to put a piece of, just a random scrap piece of tape on the bottom of my card pocket, and I'm going to line it up exactly. You want to take your straightest edge. Sometimes on a roll of duct tape you have, like, one side of it will have like a weird kind of wrinkledness to it, so you want to take your straightest edge and line your straight edge up exactly on one of your 1/4 inch lines and stick it down. Or you can just hold it down, but sticking it down is easier for beginners. Then you're going to take one of your pieces that you cut for your trim, that is 2.5 1/4-inch squares, and I lined my card up with this line, so I'm going to line the bottom of my trim up with the line directly below it, so that I have 1/4 inch of my card pocket covered. And I'm just going to stick it down on one side. Don't stick it all the way down yet. And then you're going to lift it and bring it over to the other line that matches up with it and push it down just like that. And I like to have a little extra so that I can stick it to the cutting mat and it helps hold it down better. So then I'm going to take this piece off and lift this up. And sometimes I like to trim my edges first, sometimes I like to fold it first. I'm going to trim it first right now. So trim off your edges and then fold it over. Just like that. And there you have a very straight 1/4 inch trim on your card pocket. So you're going to do that with all the rest, however many card pockets you want. I'll show you again one more time. So find the straightest side of your card pocket, line it up with a 1/4 inch line, then take a piece of your trim, line it up at the 1/4 inch mark directly below the top of your card pocket, and bring it up and over to the matching line on the other side. Push it down. Come on. Then you're going to lift it up and fold it over and then trim your extra. I folded it 2 different ways. You can do either way. And there is your straight trim. Now for the ID, I suggest taping this one down too. Yeah, so you take your ID plastic, whichever kind you use, or clear tape, whatever. And this is going to be a vertical ID pocket, so I made my trim a little long, but that's okay. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to line it up on a 1/4 inch mark. Get this out of the way first. So line it up on a 1/4 inch line. I think the IDs are harder to do because I feel like they don't stay down on the mat as well. Then you take your trim piece and you're going to do exactly what you did for the card pocket. You line your ID up at a 1/4 inch line and then do your trim at a 1/4 inch line directly below it and bring it up and across and down on the corresponding line. The ID ones I like to trim for, see, they don't stick as well because it's plastic. So I'll just do that again. My trim is also Scotch brand tape. Scotch brand tape doesn't have as much stickiness. I don't mind using it for trim and designs and that sort of thing, but I don't like doing a whole wallet from Scotch tape. And trim it. And then for the ID, there we go. When you fold it over, I don't fold the extra part all the way down to the bottom. I leave a little gap so that I know nothing will be showing on the front side. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of sticky showing on this side, but if you flip it over, there's no sticky showing and it's really straight. So yeah, you just do that with all your card pockets. It takes a lot of practice, but I hope this tutorial helped you guys out on how to get straight trim on your wallets and other duct tape crafts.